So State of Play has hit, and a lot of it has hit hard. Most of the stuff we have to talk about looks pretty sweet to me, but this State of Play was not without its controversy, so without any further ado, hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on gameranx, 10 big new PlayStation State of Play reveals in 2024. At number 10 is Hell Is Us. What looks like Dark Souls against the Sonic Frontiers enemies is probably going to be a lot better than that. We saw gameplay, and honestly, I'm extremely intrigued. I'm also joking about the bad guys being the bad guys from Sonic Frontiers. They are actually terrifying, but kind of have that aesthetic. Seriously, I've had nightmares about things that look exactly like this, so fun. Like that a lot. Get to play a video game against nightmares I've had. The trailer, while actually a gameplay trailer, does probably a better job of setting up a world and premise than most trailers I have seen lately. What we have is a surrealist action game that focuses on melee combat. I hesitate to call it a Souls-like, even though I have seen several articles call it such. It looks a little different to me. There's also a focus on exploration. The marketing materials for Hell Is Us regard it as an action-adventure game, which is not really what I consider a Souls game to be also. So, I don't know. I don't know exactly where to classify this, if it fits in the subgenre or if it's something different altogether. I think it's got enough going for it that it feels different. I'm only mentioning this stuff because I've seen other people mention it. I wasn't immediately struck as, oh, look at this Souls-like. It has too much of a plot from the looks. Not that there's no plot in a Souls-like game, but generally those games are more environmental storytelling, and this looks like you got a serious thing going on, you know? It's so silly that's how you would describe something unique about a game at this point. Because it sounds like such a dunk on the Souls-like genre, and it's not at all. But I'm intrigued. I like the idea of a surrealist game that doesn't lean too hard on like a novel art style. Really, most of it, aside from the bad guys, is pretty normal looking. And the bad guys actually kind of remind me of some Control stuff. I don't know. I'm fairly excited about this one. It definitely roped me in. We don't have a release date. It's obviously a PlayStation 5 game, and it's coming out next year sometime. Moving on to number 9, here's where the controversy starts a little bit. So they're releasing a Chroma Collection, which is a couple of new controllers and console covers for the PS5. Now, if you're a fan of those reflective paint jobs that look like different colors from different angles, you're gonna love this. I think they look cool. I grew up in the 1990s. That's when that stuff was cool. Your mileage may vary. I don't know. That's not what the controversy is. The Chroma Collection is not going to be available for the launch PS5. And it kind of highlights the fact that the PlayStation 5 launch edition really hasn't gotten that kind of attention. Now, to be fair, there is positive response for these colors. I'm not saying that these are, like, hated. They're not. It is a cool announcement. I do like what they look like, but they're marred in the comment section of their announcement with people pretty not happy about the fact that these cool covers are only available for the PlayStation 5 Slim owners, which is, by the way, somewhere in the neighborhood of 16, 17 million people. Don't get me wrong, lots of people, but there are 45 million people who own the launch PlayStation 5 console, which is a significantly larger number of people, and thus, when they see a smaller group being catered to, it makes them not happy. Now, the ideal solution to this situation is for Sony to put these covers out for the launch edition of the console as well, but also maybe they don't want to. Maybe they want to produce less of them and sell them easier. I don't know. There's probably a reason. Technically, the original PS5 is not being manufactured anymore, but people who supported the PS5 from day one feel a little shortchanged. That being said, I do want to say I think that they're cool covers. I'm talking about it this way because I think that it's only fair. I don't have an original PS5. I'm not sure if I'm going to buy these yet because I got my eye on that 30th anniversary edition if I'm going to do anything crazy about the appearance. I'm hoping maybe somebody makes a cover that looks like the 30th anniversary edition so I don't have to buy a really overpriced PS5 to get it, but we'll see. But obviously everybody who both owns the PS5 Slim and likes those multicolor paints, you got a great product coming up. At number 8 is the Stellar Blade Neir Automata DLC. So let's get into some more straightforwardly awesome stuff. Right, so there is Stellar Blade DLC and updates. They range from a photo studio. When I say photo studio, I say that as in it's much more than a photo mode. And also Neir Automata collaboration. The photo mode's kind of nuts. Like, you go way further than your average photo mode. You can pose the characters, you can put expressions on their faces, etc., etc. It's way more than you would normally expect. But what is probably cooler for somebody like myself, a big fan of Neir Automata, in all seriousness, this is a game that Stellar Blade got a massive amount of comparison to, even though they're actually pretty different games. Now, the nature of the Neir Automata stuff, I will say, we don't know the full extent of. It looks like it might be content where you play something from Neir Automata with the Stellar Blade mechanics. I'm not really 100% sure. We do see 2B facing over what looks like the crumbled amusement park from Neir Automata. I don't know exactly what that means. Like, are they going to put the Neir Automata aesthetic over some areas of Stellar Blade, or are we getting a full new area? We'll see. It's awesome nonetheless. There's also, you're going to be able to buy the soundtrack for Stellar Blade, which is a very good soundtrack. It is a lot of tracks also. It's over 180 of them, and I will certainly be picking that up. And number 7, this one I'm pretty happy about, Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered. Horizon Zero Dawn's a good game. Horizon Forbidden West is a big upgrade, and Burning Shores, the DLC, kind of takes us to a place where it makes the original Horizon look rudimentary. And no longer. This remaster looks fan-freaking-tastic. The trailer contains basically a list of things that they've done to make things look better. Textures, models, blah, blah, blah. I think that it's just obvious looking at it that it looks significantly nicer than the original Horizon Zero Dawn, particularly the character models. The original of those games, character models kind of got some criticism as toe face. They had a bit of that toe face, the big toe face going on. And I think they fixed that here. It looks much more consistent with the more recent Horizon game, or if you consider Burning Shores a separate game, and I kind of do games. I mean, it's not like they've done a huge amount of stuff to these models, but even subtle changes do a fair amount, in my opinion. Like if you look at side by side of the character models from the original to this trailer, definitely improved. Adult Aloy in particular, that is kind of a night and day one. And the thing is, the original didn't look bad in any way, and I never actually thought, you know what really needs a remaster? It's Horizon Zero Dawn. But seeing the footage that we've seen captured on PS5 here, yes, it absolutely needed a remaster. I can't wait to play it again, honestly, because it looks just stunning. This one's not far off either. It's coming Halloween this year. Pre-orders are open. It's been nice to see Sony kind of actually developing on the Horizon brand. I think that it kind of got ignored a little bit when it first came out by a lot of people. The toe faces, I think, didn't help. This is a good choice, and I do hope that it is well received, because I would like to see them remaster more games. Bloodborne, for instance. Would love to see Bloodborne. But yeah, this looks good. At number 6, we got some pretty sweet new footage of Monster Hunter Wilds and a release date. We saw a lot of interesting new environments, some big new monsters, but frankly, we've already been impressed by this new Monster Hunter game plenty. We're way past the shut up and take my money stage of this one, are we not? I would assume so. So when's it coming out? When can I buy this thing? When is it going to get into my grubby hands for me to play? Well, Capcom finally told us it's coming out February 28th next year, and pre-orders are open. And this is one that people are just straightforwardly psyched for. Every single bit of input I have seen on Monster Hunter Wilds has been positive. I haven't seen too many people critical of it, and when they are critical of it, it's pretty light generally. It just looks like an amazing new Monster Hunter game. It looks huge like World. It looks colorful like Rise, and it's gotten a huge upgrade to the graphics. I have to assume everything about this game is poised to just be a big friggin' hit. At number 5, we got an announcement for a game called Archeage Chronicles. Now, Archeage is a game that came out quite a while ago. It's an MMORPG that they called a sand park, kind of a hybrid of a sandbox game and a theme park. I think actually a pretty good way of putting it. I haven't played Archeage in a very long time, but it came out back in 2013 in Korea and in the West in 2014, so it's been a while. And in all seriousness, this looks like a massive upgrade in graphics and systems and world and everything. It is set 50 years after the original game, so it's not just a rehash of the original, which is nice. I have to say, in every way, it does look like a AAA game. I don't know exactly what that's going to add up to. I have a feeling it's going to be pretty fun. Will it sustain itself? That's always the question with these types of games. I hope so, because obviously I always hope for the best. It looks damn cool. So, yeah, that's coming next year. At number 4, we're getting Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver 1 and 2 Remastered. Yes, absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. We were just talking about this the other day. I said something about how they've made it seem increasingly unlikely they're ever going to give us a remake of these games. And lo and behold, ask and ye shall receive. Granted, we were talking kind of about the Legacy of Kain as a whole. In the video where we were talking about games where it seems like the franchise is dead and we're not getting another entry of it, I specifically mentioned Soul Reaver as games I'd like to see remade, in particular out of Legacy of Kain. They're really good games. I love Soul Reaver. They're pretty different from the other Legacy of Kain games, but I kind of don't care. They were big hits and for good reason. And man, in all seriousness, it was just one of those ones where I'm just like, yes, absolutely. And it's not even a long time we're going to wait for them. They're coming to PS5 and PS4 December 10th. Moving on to number 3, it's Hitman World of Assassination. You might say to yourself, wait, that's already out. And yes, that is true. You can buy Hitman World of Assassination, the trilogy of these games. They are fantastic games. They are third-person games, sandbox games, and the announcement is actually for them coming to PSVR with a ton of exclusive features, and I don't know how I could possibly not want this. It's everything that you kind of want Hitman to be. You want to be the badass. So now you get to go in, dual wield guns, do all of the actions with your hands. I mean, it's crazy. It's hard to even describe how crazy it is. Like, Hitman is such a varied, sandbox-oriented game. To make it for VR and actually make it for VR, not just make a game where you can see from the perspective of the character, but kind of rebuild the game from the ground up, specifically for VR. I mean, that's freaking huge. These are such good games, and I can't wait to play them. Honestly, this is a good reason to own PSVR. At number 2 is the Midnight Walk, a PlayStation 5 / PlayStation VR 2 game, meaning you'll be able to play the game on either of these platforms. I like that idea. I'm not sure exactly how necessary VR is for this, because it is a highly stylized game, and to be completely frank, it's very, very neat looking. I don't think that it's going to matter whether it's on PSVR or not. There's a lot to like about how this game looks. VR might be slightly more interesting. We'll see. It's kind of, because it uses an emulated stop motion animation look for the movement of the characters, and I don't know how well that will translate directly to your eyeballs. I'm not super worried. It's not like a major concern or anything, but I think I'll probably get it on the PS5 rather than the VR. I love it when VR is done right, but also I do get sick playing the VR after a short period of time, and I have concerns about what that stop motion is going to do in that respect. But man, this is a cool looking game. We don't have a release date or anything. They're just saying spring 2025. But hey, that's something to look forward to, I definitely think. And finally, at number 1, this is the one that I've been waiting to talk about this whole time. Ghost of Yotei, the follow-up to Ghost of Tsushima. It is a game set 329 years after the first game. It has a pretty different vibe in terms of its setup. Obviously, we're still a samurai, we still have swords, etc., etc. It's a different time period, but it's not a time period where modern technology has been introduced. But it's an era where, rather than samurai clans, there were a lot of roaming ronins, so to speak. A pretty different world. You are one of those ronin. Apparently, you start off as a hunter around Mount Yotei, and you very quickly become very wanted and the target of every samurai in the area. It looks really cool, honestly. Ghost of Tsushima is, of course, a fantastic game, and this looks like a pretty cool follow-up, in my opinion. I don't know if this counts as a spin-off or a sequel exactly. Obviously, it takes place in the same continuity, but I don't know if there's a Ghost of Tsushima 2 eventually or not. If they're just going to focus on the ghost character, this Ronin or samurai or whatever, wearing a mask and doing secret-y things and being contemplative on top of mountains and stuff. I'm just happy to see the series continue, and this does look like a great game in my opinion. I'm excited to see where it goes. No release date, but it's coming next year. We'll keep you informed of everything we know as well. We have a couple bonus things to mention here. We got an overview trailer of Dynasty Warriors Origins, the new mainline Dynasty Warriors game. It is not an open world game. I think they probably could make an open world Dynasty Warriors that didn't suck. It just would have to not be clearly intended to be an MMORPG, and they changed direction. That said, Dynasty Warriors 9 sucked horribly. It didn't focus on the things that make Dynasty Warriors great. This looks like it's doing exactly that, and it's doing it with a lot more power behind the game's engine. That is coming January 17th, 2025. The expansion we have all been waiting for. Yes, the Night Springs DLC was a lot of fun, not complaining, but the Federal Bureau of Control-oriented Lake House expansion, I am so there for. The FBC agent you see in Alan Wake, Kyrian Estevez, is in an adventure that actually happens parallel to Alan Wake 2, and I think that's a great idea for what to do with this. I would like to know what the Federal Bureau of Control is doing the whole time, frankly. I am a huge FBC enthusiast, let's say. Control is probably one of my favorite games of all time. Alan Wake 2, I think, only outshines it on the basis that it manages to accomplish a lot more. In terms of the world itself, Control is a huge winner. Also, in the exact same way, DLC served as an Alan Wake 2 teaser with Control, I think we're getting a Control 2 teaser here, as well as an enjoyable expansion on what happened in the events of Alan Wake 2. I'm super excited. It's coming out in October. We also got some new gameplay for Towers of Agazba, a game that looks like an adventure game where you grow an ecosystem. It's a very pretty looking game, but I don't fully understand it quite yet. You got town building, you got planting, and a big old world to explore. It does look very cool, and I have to assume that it's going to be interesting, but this is the first in-depth anything I've seen of it. It does look very cool, and it's launching in early access in November. We'll see exactly what happens with that one, but that's also it for today. If you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week. Best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription, so click subscribe. Don't forget to enable notifications, and as always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter at Falcon the Hero. We'll see you next time right here on gameranx.